The morning at Meridian Life Insurance started routinely. Nicole Edwards, senior fraud investigator, scanned new claims over coffee. Then a flagged notification froze her screen. A $480,000 payout for a deceased policyholder named Edwards, Nicole.
That's my name, my exact date of birth. And they're listing me as deceased in a Reno car crash.
The attached death certificate looked official, but the issuing county didn't match the crash location at all.
My mother's signature. She's the policyholder. She filed this claim knowing I wasn't dead.
Nicole set down her coffee. Her hands remained steady, but something cold and sharp took hold inside her chest. Without a word to anyone, she walked to the records department and yanked open the heavy metal drawer. The physical file was thick, the paper aged and yellowing. It had been sitting in the archives for over a decade.
They've been planning this since I was barely an adult. All those years of silence, and now this.
She stood alone in the dusty records room, the file heavy in her hand. There would be no going back from this. Back at her desk, Nicole spread the contents of the file across the surface. The policy document sat on top, signed 13 years ago. The policyholder's signature line read, Donna Edwards, Guardian, dated March of Nicole's senior year of high school.
I was 17. They sat me down in the kitchen and told me it was for my future.
Her mother's hand rested on her shoulder, guiding the pen. Her father smiled from across the table.
They never mentioned it again. For 4 years, not a word.
Nicole hadn't spoken to Donna or Robert since she walked out at 22. The silence had been clean until now.
There's a conflict of interest policy. I should flag this for a colleague.
But instead, she typed her own investigator code into the case assignment field and pressed enter.
I want to be the one sitting across from her when she realizes what she actually did.
The system updated. Case 7-2094 now belonged to senior fraud investigator Nicole Edwards. Nicole dialed the Washoe County Recorder's office directly. The death certificate held firm against the morning light.
This is Investigator Edwards from Meridian Life. I need to verify a death certificate number.
The line held static for a moment. Then the clerk's voice came back thin and uncertain. The number didn't exist in any database.
So it's not just fraudulent. The entire certificate was invented out of thin air.
She hung up and immediately scrolled to a contact she hadn't used in months. Chen, FBI Fraud Division.
Agent Chen. It's Nicole Edwards. I have a case that's about to become federal.
Agent Chen listened without interruption, her expression sharpening as Nicole described the forged certificate.
We've seen this pattern before. A clerk in Leon County has been selling fakes for $5,000 apiece.
$5,000. They paid a bribe to declare me dead.
Nicole forwarded the case file to Chen's secure server. The FBI investigation opened within the hour. 3 days later, Agent Chen sent a one-line message and an audio file. The corrupt clerk had confessed. The signed statement read, I sold a fraudulent death certificate for Nicole Edwards. $5,000 cash.
They handed cash to a stranger to erase me from existence.
She pinned the evidence to a board in a small conference room. Photos, the fake certificate, the policy. Red string connected them.
All that's missing is their admission. And I plan to get it face to face.
She walked to the front desk and leaned close to Claire, the receptionist.
If anyone named Edwards calls, transfer it straight to my line. No mention of the fraud unit. Understood. I'll flag the system.
2 weeks passed. Nicole checked the claim status daily. The policy remained active, the payout pending.
They'll call soon. They've invested too much to walk away.
The phone at reception rang at 2:10 on a Thursday. The display showed a Chicago area code.
Meridian Life Insurance? This is Claire. How may I assist you?
Yes, this is Donna Edwards. I'm calling about my daughter's life insurance claim. I need it expedited.
Of course, Mrs. Edwards. The specialist overseeing your claim can meet with you in person. Are you available tomorrow afternoon?
Who is the specialist? I want a name before I drive all the way down there.
I can tell you it's our senior fraud investigator. They deal exclusively with high-value cases.
Fraud? My daughter died in a car accident. There's no fraud involved.
It's just a formality, ma'am. The investigator will clarify everything.
Claire hung up and shot a meaningful glance toward Nicole's office, then gave a small thumbs up.
Tomorrow, sit right here, Mother. Let's talk about that accident.
The next afternoon, a black sedan pulled up to the Meridian Life Insurance building. Donna Edwards stepped out in a navy dress, gold earrings glinting. Her stride was unhurried as she crossed the marble lobby. She ignored the receptionist's first smile, heading straight for the desk.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Edwards. Please sign the visitor log. The investigator is in office 3, just down the hall on the left. They're ready for you.
Donna walked the corridor with the pace of someone expecting a large check, her heels clicking a steady rhythm on the hard floor. She passed the brushed metal nameplate without breaking stride, too focused on the payout ahead to read it. With a polished, rehearsed smile, she pushed open the frosted glass door. At the reception desk, Claire watched the corridor with a furrowed brow, her fingers hovering over the phone.
This isn't possible. She's supposed to be dead.
Nicole sat motionless behind the desk, hands folded, eyes steady and unblinking on the woman who had declared her dead.
Nicole? Oh God. We were told. The police said there was a crash.
I'm aware of what you were told. Now sit down, Donna. We have a lot to discuss.
Donna's hand tightened on the doorframe. She glanced back toward the corridor, calculating an escape.
If you walk out, the FBI will be the next people you speak with. That's your only exit.
Donna's shoulders sagged. She crossed the room and sank into the chair as if the air had been sucked out of her. Nicole opened the red folder and slid it across the polished desk. The fraudulent death certificate lay on top.
This is the death certificate you submitted. You've got the wrong county. Did you think no one would check?
There's been a mistake. I didn't file that. Someone must have stolen my information.
Your signature is on the claim. 7 years of premiums. Do you take me for a fool?
The silence that followed was thick with the scent of impending ruin. Donna Edwards realized she was sitting across from the daughter she'd declared dead, and the daughter held all the leash. Nicole tapped a manicured finger on the county line. The discrepancy was so obvious it felt like a taunt.
This certificate is a forgery. Leon County doesn't issue documents for Washoe County.
I don't know anything about counties. The insurance agent handled all of that.
Nicole opened the original policy file, the one with Donna's signature from 13 years ago.
You signed this when I was 17. You've paid premiums for 7 years on a daughter you hadn't spoken to.
I didn't know the policy was still active. It was supposed to be canceled.
Cancelled? You paid every quarter. The system doesn't lie.
The words landed like pieces being removed from a chessboard. Donna's alibi was in pieces.
7 years of premiums. That's not a misunderstanding. That's an investment.
Donna's hand flew to her mouth, and for the first time, she looked at Nicole as an adversary.
You left us. You have no idea what we went through. You're just trying to ruin us.
Nicole didn't blink. She opened the blue folder and slid out a photograph and a one-page summary.
Mike, that's the clerk from Leon County. How did you?
He's been very cooperative with the FBI. They recorded his statement yesterday.
The blood drained from Donna's face. She was no longer dealing with an estranged daughter. She was facing a federal investigation.
You paid him $5,000 in cash. He remembers you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't insult my intelligence. I have the recording.
You can't do this. Nicole, I'm your mother.
Nicole's expression didn't change. She slowly closed the blue folder, but the damage was already irreversible. Nicole placed a small digital recorder on the desk and pressed play. The speaker crackled. She handed me an envelope. $5,000. I just issued the certificate. Donna's composure shattered. She covered her face with both hands, her shoulders shaking. The recording continued. I didn't ask no questions. I didn't care who was dead. Nicole's finger hovered over the pause button, but she let it run. Her expression remained unreadable.
You've heard enough, but there's more. He described your clothes, your jewelry.
Please stop it. It was Robert's idea. The whole thing.
Robert's idea? Go on.
He said it was the only way. We lost everything. I didn't want to, but he insisted.
Nicole pressed stop. The silence that followed was filled only by Donna's ragged sobs.
Cancel the claim. We'll walk away, pretend this never happened. I'll pay you back every premium.
This isn't a negotiation. Fraud investigators don't take bribes.
Nicole's fingers slid the yellow folder across the polished desk, flipping it open just enough to show the heading.
United States v. Donna Edwards and Robert Edwards. Conspiracy to commit wire fraud.
Robert? No, he didn't.
You just told me it was his idea. That makes him a co-conspirator.
Please, you can't do this to your own father.
He did it to himself. And to me, years ago.
The yellow folder lay open between them, the federal seal stark under the fluorescent office lights.
You have one phone call. Use it wisely, or the FBI will notify him during the arrest.
Donna's hand shook so badly she nearly dropped the phone. She fumbled the passcode twice before the screen unlocked. She jabbed Robert's name and pressed the speaker. The ringtone filled the silent office.
What? Did you get the check? Donna, speak to me.
It's not about the check. Nicole is alive. She's sitting right here.
I told you not to call unless it was in hand. What are you talking about? Nicole died 3 weeks ago.
She didn't die. She works here at Meridian. She's the fraud investigator. She has everything.
A sound like a chair scraping tile came through the speaker. Then Robert's voice, suddenly cold.
You've lost your mind. Put her on the phone.
She's right here. She's been listening to every word.
Donna held the phone out across the desk, her arm trembling, while Nicole sat motionless, watching the unraveling with unblinking eyes.
This is your fault. You said the certificate was foolproof. You were supposed to handle it.
Nicole reached across the desk and took the phone from Donna's trembling hand. Her voice was flat, almost bored.
Hello, Dad. There's an FBI team outside your house right now. I suggest you cooperate.
A burst of static, then dead air. Robert had slammed the phone down without another word.
You've destroyed us.
I didn't destroy anything. You made your choices. Now you'll live with them.
Donna slumped back in her chair, her designer handbag slipping unnoticed to the floor. Nicole closed the yellow folder with a quiet finality, then folded her hands on top of it. The office was silent except for the distant hum of the fluorescent lights. Donna didn't move.
Now we wait for the FBI to finish the job.
Nicole pushed back her chair and walked to the window. The city sprawled under a late afternoon sun.
They just took Robert out in handcuffs. I'm sure a neighbor is already filming it.
He's your father, Nicole. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
You haven't been my parents since the day I left at 18. 4 years of silence, and then a death claim.
Donna's face crumpled completely. She looked like a woman realizing the past had calcified into something unforgivable. Outside, a distant siren rose and faded, the sound of an ordinary city continuing without notice.
There must be something you want. Money? I can get money. I'll do anything.
What I wanted was a mother who didn't try to cash in on my death. It's far too late for that.
Nicole sat back down in her chair, her posture as controlled as when the meeting began.
The FBI will be here for you shortly. I suggest you use the remaining minutes wisely.
Nicole pulled the yellow folder closer and flipped it wide open. The full indictment lay exposed across the desk.
Conspiracy to commit wire fraud, identity theft, falsifying a death certificate. Each count carries up to 10 years. The math is simple.
20 years?
Nicole produced the original policy document, now stamped in red ink across the face, voided.
The policy is voided retroactively for fraud. You'll never collect a dime. And the 7 years of premiums you paid $43,000 are forfeited as proceeds of crime. So technically, you just paid Meridian $43,000 to commit a felony against me.
Donna's face went slack. She looked like a woman being told she'd paid for her own execution. Nicole closed the yellow folder with a quiet snap, then sat back. The case was finished. Nicole pressed the silent alarm beneath her desk. The frosted door opened almost instantly, and 2 FBI agents stepped inside without a word.
Donna Edwards, you are under arrest for conspiracy to commit wire fraud and identity theft. Please stand up.
Nicole, please, I'm your mother. You can't let them do this.
I know.
The agents stepped forward. Donna's hands were pulled behind her back, the silver cuffs clicking shut with cold finality. They led her out of the office, her heels scraping the carpet. She didn't look back. Down in the lobby, a few employees stopped mid-step, their coffee cups frozen in the air as the woman in the navy dress was taken out in handcuffs. The office door slid closed with a faint click, and the hum of the fluorescent lights returned. Nicole remained motionless, her eyes fixed on the chair where Donna had sat, now empty. After a long moment, she picked up the desk phone and dialed Agent Chen's number from memory. The line clicked twice, then Agent Chen answered with a familiar calm. "Edwards, I assume it's done."
Done. They took her out in cuffs 10 minutes ago. What about Robert?
The small screen on the desk phone lit up with the call duration, seconds ticking silently.
He's in custody too. No resistance. Good work, Nicole. Thank you, Agent Chen. I'll send the final report by morning.
She placed the receiver back in its cradle, then stared at the phone as if it might offer some final instruction.
It's over. Both of them are in a federal holding cell.
For a full minute, she didn't move, listening to the faint hum of the building's ventilation. Then her hands began to tremble. Just once, a small betrayal from a body that had held itself rigid for hours. She pressed her palms flat against the cool wood and steadied them. Nicole reached for the 3 color-coded folders, red, blue, yellow, and clipped them together with a steel binder. Then she slid the bundle into a thick archival case file, where it would live permanently in Meridian's closed cases. Her fingers moved across the keyboard, typing the final notes into the system. Claim fraudulent. Indictments issued. File closed. Nicole pushed back from the desk, gathered her coat and handbag, and switched off the monitor. She stepped into the corridor, the frosted glass door whispering shut behind her. At the front desk, Claire looked up with wide, concerned eyes. Nicole passed without a word. Nicole exited the Meridian building, the evening sun warm on her face. She walked toward the parking lot without a backward glance. She slid behind the wheel, turned the ignition, and pulled out of the lot. The office shrank in her rearview mirror.
Case closed.
The streetlights eventually gave way to the familiar outline of her apartment building. She parked and gathered her things, the weight of the day settling onto her shoulders as she walked inside. In the kitchen, she poured a glass of whiskey, the amber liquid catching the low light.
Not a celebration, just a punctuation mark.
She carried the glass to the couch and sank into the cushions, her body finally allowed to unclench. The 3 folders were on the coffee table where she'd left them that morning, red, blue, yellow.
$43,000. 20 years. And they didn't even know where I worked.
She took a slow sip, the whiskey burning a warm path down her throat. For a long while, she just breathed, the quiet of the apartment wrapped around her like a blanket. Then she let out a deep, shuddering exhale that seemed to carry the last of the day's tension with it. Nicole's gaze drifted to the side table, where a small framed photograph had sat untouched for years. She picked it up, the glass cool against her fingertips. The image inside was a relic she hadn't had the heart to throw away.
17 years old, sitting between them, pretending everything was fine.
She studied the rigid postures, the 2 bright smiles, the invisible cracks that the camera had failed to capture.
I kept this as a reminder, but I don't need reminders anymore.
For a long moment, she simply held it, letting the weight of the past sit in her palms without forcing it away. Then, with a slow and deliberate motion, She placed the frame face down on the side table. The glass met the wood with a soft click, and the strained smiles vanished into shadow. A small, sad smile crossed her lips, not one of triumph, but of release.
That girl doesn't exist anymore. And she never has to again.
She rose from the couch, leaving the whiskey glass and the face-down photograph behind. Naked feet silent on the floor, she crossed to the wide window that overlooked the city. The glass was cool against her forehead when she leaned close, her breath leaving a small foggy circle.
All that anger, and now there's just space.
She pressed her palm flat against the pane, the chill grounding her. Outside, the city glittered, indifferent and ongoing, 1,000 tiny lights asking nothing of her. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel like waiting. It felt like arriving. A faint smile touched her lips, not of victory, but of hard-won calm, and she stood there, letting the night settle around her, whole and entirely her own. The city lights blurred softly through the glass. Nicole's reflection hovered in the dark pane. Slowly, her eyelids fluttered shut. The tension that had lived in her jaw for years finally released. A single tear gathered at the corner of her eye, catching the amber glow from the street below. It traced a warm path down her cheek, not of grief, but of something long awaited. Her lips parted slightly, then curved into the faintest genuine smile. She did not wipe the tear away. She let it fall. The city hummed on, but inside the apartment, the world had grown still. Nicole Edwards stood in that stillness, no longer a victim, no longer an investigator, just herself. The light on her face began to dim, the image softening at the edges, until the screen faded slowly to black, carrying with it the last breath of a long-fought peace.